Hello and welcome to this tutorial. I'm going to talk about how I make a socket for communicating clients running any device such as a smartphone, a tablet, a PC, everything you're running under a browser, a web browser, and communicating with the server over HTTPS and socket. Well, I had to do some research for this, and I wanted to record a tutorial with HTTPS and a server, a live server. This is not a computer. This is a server over HTTPS, because there are a lot of tutorials out there about sockets, but communicating HTTP and from a local computer. This is not a local computer. So with this, you're ready to go live and over HTTPS. Okay, so for the server side, we're going to use Node.js. I assume that you know what Node.js is. I will not explain in this tutorial what Node.js is. I assume that you already have Node.js installed, right? And with Node.js, you're going to need some other stuff here. You are going to use the file system. We are going to use HTTPS, right? We are going to use Express, and we are going to use, obviously, Socket.io. I will not explain, I'm sorry, how you have to install this, because it will take a little bit longer than I want to. So if you have any doubts how to install all this, well, go there in the web. You will have a lot of tutorials out there. Okay, the first thing we have to do is to define our certificate files. When you have a server running HTTP, the first thing you want to know is how to run everything under HTTPS. To do that, you will need certificates, and those certificates are expensive, but we have some companies here that will let you get certificates for free. For instance, Let's Encrypt. By the time I took this certificate, this was a free, and as you see here, it's a free certificate authority. So here with this, you can get your free certificate for running HTTPS here in your server. They have, I will not cover how to get the certificate from here, but they have a great tutorial here. It's not that easy. I mean, you need to be an advanced technical person to do this, but it's not impossible. This is a great start. You have to take your time and you will get it. So those two files are a private key file and a certificate file. You will need those files. You have to locate those files in your server. Mine are, for instance, one is here in this path, and the other is here. One is the private key file, and the other one is the certificate file. So you have to save them in your file system. The first thing we're going to do is to create an object with all the file system routines you will get for Node.js. Then you're going to create some options here. What are we going to define here as an option? We're going to define two parameters, two values here, two key values. The first is a private key file, where it is located, right? This is, again, this is your path. And the other one is where the certificate file is located. So we define it with a variable name cert, and we define our path here. This is different from yours, right? Because it's a different path in your folder. Well, this is all we need for now. Then we need to create in this variable HTTP, we need to get all the routines and functions and all the logic for working with HTTP. In other tutorials, you will see that this is HTTP. We're going to use HTTPS because, as I told you before, we are working with HTTPS secure protocol. So the next thing we're going to do is to use to create a new variable, and we're going to require the Express framework. If you don't know what Express framework is, go to the web and read about it. But if you're going to work with this, I recommend you to know what all Node.js is first, and try to get familiar with it, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult. I mean, you will be able to copy exactly the code I'm putting here, but you will not know what to do, or you won't be able to install and use this. You will get errors. Okay, we are going to create a variable app to get a reference to our Express framework, right? And we're going to store that reference in our variable app. The next thing we're going to do is to create a server. This is done with this variable server, and using this object we define here, right? We're going to create a server with these options, I mean certificates. In other tutorials, you're going to see this without the options, right? Because they don't want any HTTPS certificates here. But in our case, you will need to add options because of this. And then we send the reference to the Express framework here. Well, after we have that, we finally need to define a new variable, which is a variable which stores all the functions you have from Socket.io. You have to install Socket.io. If you don't know how to do this, please go and read in the web how you have to install this. Once we have all this, we are going to start listening the server. So the server needs to listen all the petitions we're going to send from where? From clients, from here, okay? Well, but to do this, we need to define which port we are going to listen to. So I will choose 8083, but this is not maybe the same port you have to use it. You can use here any port, right? It doesn't matter. The thing is, you have to define any port you have available in your server. That's it. With that, you are ready to save and try to run this and see if it works. To do that, you go to where this file is located in your terminal, right? In my case, it's going to be here. Yes. As you can see here, I have these two files. One is socket server.js, which is this one, and the other one is client HTML, which is this one. We have no code here. This is where the file all your clients are going to get and see how they have to connect to this server. Okay, so we are going to try to run this and see if we have any errors. If you run node node space socket server.js, you will get this. If you have no messages here, it means everything is okay. If you have some messages, it means that you made any mistake. For instance, let's put something wrong here, right? There you have. If you have this, go and check your code and see what is missing, what is wrong. Sometimes Node cannot find any of this, and he will say there is an error. But for our case, everything is going well. Okay, so the next thing we have to do here is to be ready for a socket connection, right? How we are going to receive from clients petitions to the server side. So how do we do that? We use the variable IO, which is defined here, and we have to use sockets on okay. By doing this, we are telling Node.js, hey, keep listening in this port for all new connections from clients, okay? And when you have a connection, please run this anonymous function and store in this variable all the information from your client from here. So here is going to be all the information from your clients running your code from any device. What we can do right now is just print a message saying a new user connected, right? So every time this anonymous function is executed, it means that someone is connected from any computer. We can save this and we can test it. We have to stop the server we're running and run it again. If there is any error, again, you will have all the messages here. But to be able to test this, we need to do something here on the client side. So we're going to create a simple HTML. We're going to put some head and a title. Sorry here. Okay, and we are going to get a body here. We can draw a title, right? Any legend here. Okay, if we save this and we hit refresh here, you will see just these two lines and the title, which is put nothing is here, nothing else is here, because we're going very step by step. Okay, the first thing we need is we need to identify who we are, because remember, you're going to have several clients. For instance, this is another window with another client, right? If we hit here, that's it. We're going to see the same screen so far, because this is one client and this is another client. Here, for this example, I have the same clients in my computer, but this is not going to be like that. I mean, this client can be anywhere in the world, and this other client can be anywhere in the world. Both are going to be connected to the same server using sockets. But well, to identify the clients, we need to ask them, hey, what's your information? For now, we're going to use a username. We are going to use this ID to get the information from this text field. Right? We need to add a button. and we are going to execute a JavaScript function every time the user hits this button. Right, so every time the user hits this button, he's going to execute a connect. We're going to put everything in the same file here. CSS in our case, well, I don't think we are going to have CSS, but JavaScripts are going to be in this file just for the single purpose of keep everything simple, right? Don't work with too many files because it's sometimes confusing. So we have to define this function connect here, right? And we are going to first get the username. The user has just entered it. To work with jQuery, we need to import jQuery first. So I'm going to add this script here. And with this, I'm ready to use jQuery. Otherwise, I will have to use plain JavaScript. It's okay, you can do it, but well, I will use just jQuery, it doesn't matter. Username dot bell. Okay, we have here the username. We need to validate don't forget to validate empty input. You have to validate that this is not empty. Okay, once we have the username, we have to connect to the socket. To work with sockets here, we need to import another file from our server. The file is socket.io.ts. When you install this, when you install socket.io and you make a require here, you will have this file for using from your clients, right? You can get this file from other places too. I recommend you to get your own file because you never know if this file from other servers is always going to be available, because this file only has the functions you need to connect to this server. They are not particular to any website or protocol. Now, this is related to socket.io, and if you're sure you can use the file from other servers, okay, but I don't recommend this. I will use my own, which is located here in this path, okay? So go install socket.io, get the path to this file and define it here. So once you are there, you're ready to connect to your socket. To do that connection, we are going to work with JavaScript class, right? JavaScript now work with classes, so we are going to take advantage of this. We have our constructor and we have our class mySocket in this case. What are we going to accept here? First, the username, right? And we need to work with the channel too, right? Let me explain you what a channel is. A channel is a way to communicate users. For instance, you have channel 1 and you have 2 users connected, right? And you have channel 2, let's write a name. For instance, your channel is music, right? 2 users connect, and this is videos. And you have 3 users connected. So all the users connected to this channel using this socket, right? You have one socket with many channels. You are connected to one socket but on different channels. So if you're in this connected to this channel, you're not going to be able to read the messages that are written here in the music channel. So be careful, because if you don't use channels, all the users are going to read all the information that passes through this socket. So you have to be very careful and define all the connections to channels. For this example, we are going to use one channel, and it's going to be hard-coded, right? Because I don't know, it's going to be too long, this tutorial, and I think you get the idea. So the channel is going to be hard-coded. The first thing we have to do is define a variable for the entire class. So this class is going to read this variable. So I can do this variable and this variable in any function I put inside this class, and it's going to be visible. Okay, the first thing we have to do is to create the connection from client, from here, to the server here. Because we want to get this message printed on the console here. You will see this message printed here. Okay, the first thing we have to do is to create a variable, right? Socket. This variable is going to be, again, a variable for all this class. And what do we have to do? We have to use IO, which comes from here, okay? IO connect. And what do we have to put here? Well, where our server is. And why 8083? Because it's the port it's the port we define here, right? If you have another number here, okay, you have to change this number to here. So with that, we are connected to our server. So let me see what is missing. First, users will enter a username here. Then, hitting the button, they will get the connect function. This connect function will get the username, and we need now to invoke this constructor from this class to get the connection. How do we do that? We create a variable. First, we're going to create a variable outside here, so I can use this variable in all the functions we are going to do here. So S is equal to new my socket, and we're going to pass the username here. Oh, we need to pass the channel. Well, we're going to remove the channel, and we're going to work with or we can do this. We're going to work with the hard-coded channel. I'm sorry, this is not good, but I don't want to make it that long. Okay, so this is it. Let's see if we get, because as soon as we run this line, this is going to be executed, and this message is going to be printed here. To test it, we need to stop the server and run it again, because I don't remember if I run the server with this. Okay, so it's running here. Let's see, the client is saved. Yes. We refresh here, and we see, suppose we are connecting to Walter, and if we go to the console, look, here is the message. New user connected, right? If we work from another client, check this out. You will see, as soon as I get I hit this, a new message appears here. So I have two clients connected to the same socket using the same channel. Okay, well, the next thing we need to do is to know that we are connected here. What happens once we are connected here? Okay, how do we know that the connection was okay? Well, we have to listen. As soon as we create this variable, we have to listen for events here. So here, so what happens here? I run this command. Running this, we go to the server. We execute this anonymous function. And this anonymous function will throw an invisible, here we don't see it, but internally it would throw a message to our client. And our client will print this message because it's listening for new connection. So from here to here, and from here to here. Okay, so let's refresh here and enter a username, and that's it. We're connected to the server, so everything goes well. Once we are connected to the server, we need to send messages, right? Okay, so we're going to write here some HTML code to write some messages. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a div messages, right? Inside this div, we're going to put a separator, and I'm going to put an input box. Enter your message. And we're going to put a button here. But we cannot show this. We cannot show this if we are not connected to the server. So this is going to be invisible, right? This is going to be invisible until when? Until we are connected, until here. Okay, let's do some testing and see if everything goes well. You see, there's nothing here, so it's working properly. Well, so once we are connected here, we need to show this. So we are using jQuery to do that. So once we are connected, the next step is going to be show me this to send some chat text. Let's see if this works. Connect. There. We are connected to the server, and once that happens, we show this. Again, now we have to, once we enter the message here, we need to create this function, right? First thing we have to do is to get the chat text. From where? From here. Again, here, don't forget to validate empty chat text, right? Because if there's nothing here, don't send anything over the sockets. Okay, so how do we send chat text? We're going to use this option, which is a reference to this one, to this class, and we are going to invoke a method send chat, and we are going to send chat text. We're going to invoke this function with this parameter here, which is the text, which is here. But if you see in this reference is reference to this object, we don't have this function here, so we need to write it here. Send chat text, right? Okay. Okay. To send this chat, we need to use this socket variable, which was created for this entire class. So we can use it, we can access this variable by this. And we use the function emit, which is inside here, to emit a command to our server. This command is any command we want. I will call it send chat, and I'm going to send a parameter. This is the chat text, which is so to using this socket, which is connected to here, we're going to emit a command named send chat. It can be whatever you want here, whatever you want. You're going to see how we're going to link it to here. So we send, using this, you're sending a command to here. Now we are going to come to this file and read this command, right? Okay, as a parameter you send this. And that's it, that's all you have to do to send a message. But we need to do something first. Once we are connected here, we need to add this user to a channel because we are connected, okay, but what happened? We need to add the user to a channel because otherwise all the users are going to read the same messages they are sending each other, and you don't want that. You want to have some privacy, so some users will have to be connected to some channels. So to do that, we are going to create a function here, add user to channel, right? And we are going to print a message here. And how do we do that? We use this very same way. We send to the server, right? Remember, with this, we send to the server a message to here. But we're going to use another command. We're going to use add user to or add user to. And here is going to be the channel name. This channel. Remember, we define the channel here. So we're going to send as a parameter the name of the channel we want to connect this user to. Okay, good. So when we have to do this, we have to call this function once we are connected. Besides showing this, we need to first add the user to the channel. So we cannot here use this because this at this point is the this of this anonymous function. So we need to create right. I hope you know what I just did here, and if you don't know what I just did here, try to read about it. I will not cover that part in this tutorial. Okay, and I think I have everything ready here. Now we are sending two commands to the server, but here we don't know yet what is going on. We are sending add user to first, and we're sending send chat. So we need to write on the server side something that receives this message. Okay, so that's what we are going to do right now. The first thing we have to do is to use this variable with the client information to do all the listening. What I just did here. Okay, I create a listener that will listen every time a user is sending me this command. We need to see that this command is the same command you're sending here, right? There must not be any different from here to here. They must be the same word. And as a parameter, I'm sending the channel. So I'm confused here. This is username, not channel. I'm sorry. I'm going to add a user name to the channel. So besides, you need to pass the channel, but we are working with the hard-coded channel. I'm sorry for that, but as I said, I wanted to keep it a little bit simple here. We are going to use a hard-coded channel, right? Okay, so the first thing we have to do is to invoke the function join to join this user, this user to this channel. This is the key line of everything. Here you're putting this user into this channel, okay? And now we're going to define some, okay. And we can print the message. Okay. So if we stop our socket here and we run it again, first we see there is no error here, so okay, everything is okay. Check this out. By the time I disconnect my socket from the server, you see some errors here. Check this out. We are going to refresh and we're going to connect to the server, right? Second user is connected to channel soccer test. You see here, everything works well. What happens if I just break the socket here? You will see an error here, and so the server is disconnected. You can show a message here, and if I run it again, you will see here the new message and messages here and no errors. Okay, so we have two clients connected here, right? And both are subscribed to the channel, to the same channel. Well, now we have to control here the messages I send to the server. From the client side, I think everything is done here. Yes, send chat is going to come here. We're going to grab the text we want to send to the server and use this class, invoke this function send chat and send the text. So everything is done here. But we need to listen on the server side for this command, send chat. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. We're going to use this very same line here, but That's it. Instead of add user to, we are going to listen for the send chat command. That's it. And we can print, first we can print a message. New chat text was sent from client. Right? So we print on console here the text we just received from clients, right? So once we do that, we need now to send this message to the rest of the clients connected to this very same channel. For instance, if this user is sending a chat message, right? If you send a chat message here, you need to broadcast the message because this other user needs to receive this information. That's the communication point. So we're going to do that. We are going to broadcast this message. We're going to use the socket variable, which is the client socket dot broadcast to where? Socket room. I will explain you in a minute what I just did here. Socket, because it's the variable of the client, of the connected client, which has received once the user is connected. So this user wants to broadcast to this channel. Remember, we stored in the variable room here the name of the channel. So it's broadcasting to this channel, and we are emitting to all the clients connected to this channel the command update chat, and we are sending as a parameter the chat we just received from the client. So we need to handle this here on the client side. Okay? Hope it's clear for you. If not, write the same code, test it, and you will see how it works. So where do you think you have to create that listener? Here, the same place, the same way we are listening for connect, we have to listen for which command? This one. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste this text because I want to know that it's the same word. Okay, so new chat message. Okay, so we want to right now we want to show this new chat message in a list for this client. Okay, so we're going to create that list. Maybe I will do another separation here, and I will create the text area with an ID of chat messages, right? So we're going to width 100 pixels and height 100 pixels. So we have bigger text area. So we're going to put all the messages we receive here. We're going to do that with JavaScript. So update chat is the command I received from the server. Update chat is here. I'm listening for chats here. So I'm going to use jQuery to prepend chat text, and I will add a new line. This is a new line character. So I have the text I receive and then a new line. So I save this. I will stop this one and I will run it again. See if there is no error. No errors. See, everything was done automatically. This is really good. And we have our two clients here. We're going to connect this client first. There, you see. We're going to do this text area a big, kind of wider here. We're going to put 300 pixels. It was too small. Now we're going to connect again. That's it. And now we're going to do the same here. That's it. Now I'm going to send a message. Hello, sockets. And we're going to send it, Jan. You see? Everything works great. That's it. And if we send from here, we're going to see hello world here. So that's a communication we create over HTTPS with Sockets.io. From here, you will figure out how to make this more complicated, listening for other, you can listen for these connections, you can listen for any command you want here, and build your own world based on this very simple code. You will find this code in my repository. Please check the description of this video and you will find all you need to get this code in GitHub. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.